Those were the pictures that you see like over Normandy and
Yeah.
sometimes out of London. Those were typically barrage balloons.
What does that mean?
They were, it's kind of an odd name, I think, but they were designed to interrupt the enemy aircraft. So they're the balloons that are floated up on and tethered with a cable
Hmm.
and winched back down when they're no longer in use. But they go up 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet, several hundred feet, and
Hmm.
you position them around um, uh, targets that you don't want the enemy to strike, and it really complicates the enemy aircraft ability to perform a bombing run or a strafing run with accuracy, and it forces those aircraft to get
Oh, I
when
see.
they get higher, they're more vulnerable to attack by defending aircraft, or you can kind of sight in your anti-aircraft artillery where you know the airspace will have to be used for these aircraft to avoid the barrage balloons. So they use
So the way you're explaining it, Dr. Schultz, correct me if I'm wrong, these barrage balloons don't necessarily need to be manned. You just send it up.
indeed, yeah, and they were almost rarely, if ever, manned, and they're just operated by a ground crew with a
Yeah.
mechanical winch or cable and maybe an electric, a motorized cable, and it became a significant part of warfare. And I have a quick kind of interesting story about it.
Hmm.
It's in Normandy, and you see these barrage balloons everywhere. That the Allies have floated up. One of the interesting units that set those up was an all African American balloon battalion. So back then, the armed forces were segregated.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was an all African American group of soldiers, and they were deployed to Omaha and Utah beaches. They're one of the few units that landed on both beaches, and they set up these barrage balloons, and that was their role in establishing that beachhead. And it's just kind of one of those things that stands out and tells you something that's going on in the cultural history of the Army.
Yeah. And I bet they saved a lot of lives by doing that.
They did, yes.
Were they recognized in later history or perhaps posthumously because of that? Is that something that's discussed in military education?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that.
Yeah.